What an episode of NXT, folks. This is Unpopular Review, the NXT review show. You know my voice. We're going to talk about all. You see this picture? We got the Rascals reuniting. We have Trick. He wants his title back. And say his name and he appears. Yes, I do in fact believe in Joe Henry. We're going to talk about it all after the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unpopular Review.
Thank you all for clicking on our faces.
New flag with all that.
Okay, so I wrote down some notes.
Shots do that. I don't want to sit too hard. That's twice. That'll probably go over about as well as Colonel Defeat.
Because there was no Jay White side. Okay, just straight up gangbanging. This story has been fit. You gotta pay that attention.
So Unpopular Review does not. What is she the CEO of, Chris? Jesus, golly. Let's start the show.
Jeez. Hey, everybody. Oh, that's right. We got to start the show up like that. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, folks, this is Unpopular Review, the NXT review show, the NXT Tuesday crew. I'm one of your hosts, the great Grand Slam Pooba, or should I say, the great Grand Slam champion, probably the greatest UPR champion of all time. I didn't say it. Yes, I did. And I'm joined with the fantastic Sabrina Stella. Sabrina Stella, how are you?
Well, let's see. I've had a lovely week of wrestling, and it's only Tuesday. We got a return on Monday from one Miss Rhea Ripley, who, as you all know, UPR has their own personal group chat. And in our group chat, we had the executive contradictor talk about and say supposedly that Rhea told him that she would not be coming back. And boy, was he wrong, and he was moaning and groaning and complaining about how all he was seeing on Twitter was the video and the clip and the reactions of people seeing her come back. I also want to say in regards to my little rant about Ethan last week, I miscalculated how long he was in AEW. It wasn't 5 years, it was 3, but it felt like 5. But how long it took for him to get on TV later as time went by. But we are happy to be here and talk about all things NXT tonight. Because I, too, believe in Joe Henry.
I believe in Joe Henry. I believe I can't sing, so I won't do that. But we see you guys in chat. We see you, George. You're always the first person in the chat. Sweaterverse. George, what is going on, sir? He says NXT, No Mercies is September 1st. Oh, the chat went up a little quick. So he says September 1st of this year. She says reports is that Julia is clear to compete, so I gotta ask, when do you expect her NXT debut? When do I expect it?
Probably maybe in a few months. Let her take care of the stuff with the Marigold Company over in Japan real quickly, if anything. Maybe she'll come around to debut sometime around the end of the year, maybe like in October.
Yeah,
give her some time.
I don't know much about the other company. I know that she did want to help out there. It's a new company. So I guess when her obligations are done, I just don't know enough to speak on it. He also says Oro wants to make Ethan Page life miserable. Yes, they're more on site than Peter and the Giant Chicken. We got Freckle Sensei. Yeah, you can check him out. He was on earlier today at 7 p.m. He was with Mike Knox and the executive consultant. And I apologize, Freckle Sensei, that you had to deal with the executive consultant. I like to make it a bare minimum dealing with him.
He also apologizes to me every time I had to deal with him on the show when he was not able to be on with me and I worked with him.
I sit here. One time he called and I immediately hung up because I said, I can't do this. So I am sorry you dealt with this. Freckle Sensei. Freckle Sensei, I got to give him his props and his flowers. That's what I'm all here about. He's been killing it here on UPR. I know he's killing it on Raw, but every now and then you can see him on other shows, so shout out to him. We see you, Cactus Katie, former UPR champion. I know a lot of you guys were former champions, but you know what happened? I woke up and I decided to be champion. It's not your fault that you're no longer the UPR champion. It's just that when I try, I always win. I don't know what defeat tastes like. If you gave me some loser juice, I would sit here and say, not on my watch. And I am not even wearing one. But you guys don't want to hear me rant and talk about my greatest victory of all time. I don't even know how many times I've held the championship at this point, Sabrina. What was it, like 68? 42? I don't know.
I would not be able to count.
I've won it too many times. I probably broke the record, honestly. And Freco was saying technically EC said I didn't lose. Well, technically, I don't listen. So let's move on.
Well, and also we don't have any official written rules for this championship thing. So someone in UPR will have to make rules for when this kind of thing happens.
Well, I don't make the rules.
I mean, the executive contradictor and Mike Knox are two of the heads of UPR, so to speak. So shouldn't they be the ones to write down the rules?
Do you know who's in that office too, Sabrina? So the guy holding a Thor cup. I'm drinking out of Thor's head.
I'm just the girl drinking out of a Sprite can, but I'm not being in the office.
You cannot go wrong with Sprite. Well, let's talk about this opening segment. I missed a little bit of this segment here. Real quick though, you're watching the NXT review show. Unpopular review. Do us a favor, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification button. So, I mean, it's not just us that go on. Like I said, we got two of our co-hosts in there. We got Freckle Francais. He's doing the Monday Night Raw review show on Tuesdays, and we got Cactus Katie. I'm sorry, it's something in the T, but you got her on Wednesdays with I almost said Dirty Dan. I feel like that should be his name now, Dirty Dan. I like that a lot, but
he's Dan. But he could be Dirty Dan the Man.
Dirty Dan the Man. I like that. He should turn heel on people on Wednesdays and have that name. I'm going to talk to him. He's also the co-champion.
He does. It's called Vicious Vinny.
And him
Venomous Vinny. That's who he turns heel on.
You're absolutely right. We got New Age Man. He says, I can't believe Joe Henry came. Well, this wasn't his debut. He showed up, I want to say like 2
He showed up during the Rumble for the #1 contendership for his title shots. So this is just the first time that some of the NXT and got to see him wrestle, because there are a bunch of them in there that do watch TNA.
Yeah,
as we heard in the TNA chants later tonight.
George says he's glad I missed the first part of the segment. The crowd was split with Ethan. I caught enough of it. So,
I mean, it was more so, I would say a 75-25. 75% were chanting, shut the hell up. And 25% were chanting all ego.
So we're going to get to the segment, and thank you for that. That should be his name. Try to run that by him tomorrow.
But I will say, Sammy Guevara, whenever he does go heel again, whenever he comes back, which I know when he comes back, he's going to be a face for sure. He needs to take notes from Ethan Page, because when he had to cut a promo before and the crowd was booing the hell out of him and heckling him, he got so flustered he didn't know what the hell to do. This crowd was heckling the crap out of Ethan Page. He just kept talking like it was nothing, like it was just white noise.
That probably is to him. So the segment here, like I said, I missed a good portion of it, but I know for the most part he's talking about his big win, saying that he knew that he was going to win. Trick comes out and he wants a rematch, but it's denied by Ethan Page. Ethan Page is like, nah, like the Trick William era is over, go away. Sean Spears come out, he mentions that he should get a thank you for all his help, at which Ethan does say thank you, and then he laughs. They both laugh at Trick for losing, sitting there talking about you went in here and you was talking all this mess, but you lost. Javon comes out, and we'll talk about Javon a little bit later in the show, but he comes out, he's tired of all this talk. He tells everyone to shut up. He calls one of them a goofball, and the other one, like,
I believe he called both Ethan and Sean Spears goofballs.
Right. Thank you. And then they have a brawl, and it looked like it's gonna be a tag match. Javon Evans, Trick Williams going against Ethan Page and Sean Spears. I thought it was a fine way to open up the show. It was fine. George pointing out that he never got pinned. Absolutely, he did not. And
Trick technically didn't get pinned, but he inadvertently helped Ethan get the win by kicking both Javon and he kicked Javon onto the ring, and then he kicked Ethan Page onto Javon, and then Sean Spears decided to be a good old person into being like, if I can't have the belt, then you most definitely will not have this belt again, and just held Trick Williams back at Heatwave.
honestly, I love stuff like that, where if I can't win, you can't win. I'm that petty. Like when I play like Mario Kart and I know I'm going to lose, I just ruin everyone's fun. Like if I'm in last place, I am shooting you with the blue shell, which got really devastating throughout the years because that will really change a whole game up if you play Mario Kart. If you know, you know.
Yeah, Mario Kart will do that, dude. It's
And
the video game equivalent of Uno.
No, Mario Party actually is. Mario Party will really ruin fun. I wanted to kick one of my friends in the dick because I lost, but I didn't do that because you should never kick your friends in the no-no zone. Do you want to have any thoughts about this segment before we go to the first match of the night, madam?
Well, we saw why Ethan was made champion 6 weeks into being signed into NXT, into the WWE, like he mentioned, being the first to do so, which is a big deal. But he most definitely will be bringing a lot of eyes on that belt. A lot of people are going to be going after him. So fantasy bookings, here we come.
You know, you're saying some really good stuff here because you're right. There's so many eyes on the title. You got Trick, who wants his championship back. You know, Javon, he mentioned that he was close to winning. But you also got Oro. I don't even think Oro really wants the championship, but I could see
Oro doesn't want a title. He just wants to beat the ever-living crap out of Ethan Page. Oop, there's one for this word, Dark. And another one from earlier. There we go.
Okay. But yeah, no, I can see Oro definitely going for that. You know, Ethan being champ, I said on Sunday, I was surprised that they went that route.
We were all surprised they went that route. Listen, there's a YouTube channel that I follow called The Geeky Box that specializes in making compilation videos of other streamers' reactions to these things. And I saw that video because I knew it was going to have a good number of views. And everybody, well, I would say like maybe 1 or 2 people predicted he would win. But almost everybody and their mamas were shocked as hell when Ethan Page was the one to win the title.
Right. And I was going to say, you know, I was going to just say that Ethan being so, okay. When he won the championship, I was surprised. And sometimes, like a lot of people don't say, like, I want surprises in wrestling. I want surprises in wrestling. I do too, but I want it to make sense. With this, I thought Trick would go over. And when Ethan won, I said, you know, there's a lot of good directions here you can go here with. So,
especially with him and Ava. He is going to make Ava's life a living hell, just like I said on Sunday.
And I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I think he's going to be a really fun champion. And you mentioned the stuff with, you know, I don't do the whole comparison with wrestling companies and stuff like that, but he feels like such a big deal here in NXT than he was when he was with AEW. So I commend him big time.
He felt like a big deal in AEW when he had his thing with Darby Allin and him being an American Top Team with their feud with the Inner Circle, and then after that just went off. And he had a little thing going up for a brief moment in Ring of Honor, and then it just got so bad that he wanted to get out of his contract months in advance.
I don't blame him because, like, when you're in ROH, you're like, what are we doing here? But let's get to this match here. We got Karmen, Petrovic going against Arianna Grace. They were tag teaming on Sunday. They got the win in their home, or in our home country of Canada, because I am Canadian. Yep. This match was fine. Karmen gets the win here. She showed that she was the better of the two. Arianna Grace wasn't bad. I mean, I think she does a great character work, but I think she's also showing that she can hang in the ring. So I really don't have a lot to talk about in this match. I thought it was to the point.
I think there's more to talk about with what happened afterwards.
I do. That is.
But I'm just going to say this match was fine.
Yeah. You know what I loved about this? I love that because I was a little concerned. I didn't see JC Jane on the posters or anything like that. And I was concerned that she wouldn't be on. But when I saw her presence there, I said, okay, they didn't do this to me and sit there and just not have her there. And I thought she should get some revenge after Sunday. I mean, her team lost after being cheated and being bamboozled. But they came out. I guess they distracted one of the gals. Karmen pins Arianna, and then we have Fallon. Fallon just beats the hell out of both these girls. And Fallon says, I hate rookies. So apparently she has something against rookies. And if JC,
but it's ironic because this new faction that's going on, isn't Jasmine Nix technically a rookie?
Nope. Once you are associated with the vets, that rookie stuff just washes off. So no, absolutely not Sabrina Stellar. She is not. I think she's right now.
I'm just asking because that sounded a little hypocritical, but that's just me.
No, listen, there's nothing hypocritical with JC Jane. I whatever she says, I believe. Good job, JC.
Not JC. I'm talking about Fallon.
Oh, who? I didn't even know she was here.
The one who attacked Karmen.
Oh.
She's the one that attacked Karmen at the end and said that she hates rookies, not JC.
You know what happened? I zoomed out of everything. Like, I just thought, like, Karmen was just falling on the ground. I thought, like, some invisible ghost beat her up. Because I would just pay attention.
Fallon Henley is not John Cena. We're not doing that on her.
I do want to talk about her match later. She did kill it later on. But what are you said the match was fine. Do you want to add anything to us before we talk about Brooks? Brooks the drunk?
Carmen's gear was cute. That's all I'm going to say. And Arianna Grace looked like an orange creamsicle.
Honestly speaking, though, I really like Karmen. I think she's really coming into her own. They've given her more matches. She's getting
yeah, I mean, she isn't like she doesn't have like the biggest character as far as personality, but at least she's a little more entertaining to watch. Izzy, take notes.
But you know what I think too? I think you gotta just get some TV time and flush out your character, because the thing I get from her is Kill Bill. She has a sword. I think the presentation is honestly pretty cool. But I do like that she's just getting more TV time, because I feel like the last few weeks I saw more of her than I did before. And I think she's going to be a great, how do I word this here? Because I think the women's division is a really good women's division. I think she's going to be a great contribution to this women.
She's climbing up the ranks a bit. Yes. And they see something in her for sure. So she'll get to the heights that Ruca has one day.
Yeah.
And as far as like popularity and such. Right now she's around the middle.
Sure.
But she's climbing up there bit by bit.
She's climbing up. I feel like that audience, they're getting familiar with her. They react to her. I don't think it's like this gigantic reaction, but I feel like they clap their hands for her and stuff like that. I think she get a reaction. I want to get real quick here. George says that let's say Trick gets his rematch at No Mercy, and Oro, of course, even the match and the title. I don't think Trick wins it back.
Or Oro could just attempt to interfere if something happens, and Trick inadvertently hits them, and then Ethan Page takes advantage of the distraction, then pins him and retains the belt.
There we go. We got Warman. What's going on, Warman? I see you in the chat. Says Duke is going to die next week. Oh no. We're going to talk about that. Why did Fallon Henley attack her for no reason? I mean, she said Fallon was about herself first. Well, I think she attacked her because these girls are getting in her way. So she's like, like, get out of my way. Jasmine Nix is a rookie wrestling doll. You are right. Look, wrestling doll, I mean, no, she wasn't, because Jasmine Nix is not a rookie. I'm going to be very biased here. Let's see what Natalya helped. I do agree to that. I think Natalya, the pairing between her and Natalya was a smart thing for Karmen. So I agree to that. Let's talk about this Brooke Jensen meeting. He meets with Ava. He apologized for drinking and having bad behavior. These last few weeks and months, he's been causing nothing but destruction. He would just appear in the building, and they had to always pull him away. I want to continue to talk about Brooke Jensen here after I finish this explaining the stuff about him, but Ava reminds him about the hardship of being a WWE superstar, and you have to always be a WWE superstar. She mentions to him that her and Sean were ready to release him. He looked pretty upset about it, but said that some people stuck their neck out for him, and he's going to get another chance. He says he's very grateful for it. He said, I'm not going to let you down. Thank you for this chance. He apologized for all the stuff with Shawn Michaels, and he says he wishes that stuff did not he wishes that he could take it back, but he can't because it's on the internet. Brooke Jensen here, as the mustache turns, right? This gentleman here has been just doing all kinds of things. I don't know if you guys follow him on social media or stuff. I don't, but I saw one of his Instagram stories, and he literally started the day saying, I like to start my day, and he had Jack Daniels. I said, in the morning, what I start with? Fucking orange juice. This guy's wilding. Oh, there's one for the swear jar. Yep. I'm interested in where this is going. I do want to say this.
I feel like this is kind of like the Chasey story with Andre. He's having a problem with gambling. Jensen's having a problem with drinking.
Honestly, I thought they both had a problem with drinking.
That's what it feels like. And Brooks Jensen is literally writing his own personal soap opera. He's literally turning into Days of Our Mustache.
Days of Our Mustache, season 3, baby.
3 billion. We all know good soap operas go on forever.
You know what I learned today? I learned today that SpongeBob is having his 25th season, and there's going to be a 5th Shrek movie. I don't want no 5th Shrek movie. It should have stopped after 2. And SpongeBob stopped being good after season 5, I want to say.
SpongeBob stopped being good in the 2010s. Afterwards, at that time, it just got stupid.
Yeah, no, it got really ridiculously stupid. And I can appreciate, like, my favorite character on there is Patrick Star. He's an idiot. But then I felt like they're just doing the most with him. Let's talk about this NXT Heritage Cup match. Tony D Angelo goes against Lexis King. Over the weekend, they both put out videos. Lexis King talking about he wanted a shot at Tony D'Angelo's NXT Heritage Cup. Tony D'Angelo, he shows himself in a garden. Lovely garden, by the way. And he says, yeah, you got it. And after that, I want to go back to garden. Round 1 is always the fill out round. They fill each other out so we don't get no fall. I think it's important to throw this out here as well. We had Eddie, was it Thorpe? I felt
Eddie Thorpe.
Thorpe, thank you. Thank you, because, I will say a name wrong, and some of my co-hosts would just let me drown, and I can't swim. But thank you, Wrestling Dog. George, make sure we give her 10 points there. But Eddie, he's DJing, and this gave me this.
It's a new gimmick, I guess.
Right, because his background was actually DJing, right? So they're really utilizing it now more on air. Was it? I think it was last week or the week before. And Eddie was backstage, and they're like, "Yeah, your DJing is dope and all that stuff." So they're putting it now on screen, which I think is cool because it gives him something. Eddie, I've never really been into Eddie's character. I appreciate his he wanted to get his background out there. I 100% support that. But I just wanted a little bit more. So DJ, and I can't even say I really care about DJing and stuff like that. But I said I can appreciate that. There's a little layers to his character. So he's DJing, and with him DJing, this fight that was going on, he would DJ when the rounds ended, and for whatever reason, it gave me Def Jam vibes. I just felt like this was like Def Jam. First round, like I said, was the fill out. Round 2, Lexis was slipping. He got caught slipping. Tony D gets the first fall when he hits his finisher. Lexis King gets the third fall. This was when they went to picture in picture. So around that time, I don't really watch when it's in picture in picture. For me,
it's hard to watch because you're distracted by the commercials because the thing's bigger.
Absolutely, and sometimes these commercials are stupid. Like, just so dumb.
I literally, whenever I watch it, I just use my hand and I cover the commercial so I can pay attention to what's going on.
Oh, you put your hand on the TV?
Yeah, usually I don't watch on my TV. I usually watch on like a computer screen or something. So I just block it out so it's easier. So I can just focus on that. Even if I can't hear nothing, it makes it easier. And I just mute it. And I just mute it so I don't hear the commercial.
It's not really my favorite thing when they do these picture in picture, because I'd rather you take a commercial. I could walk around for a minute, go away. That's what I use it as still, because I'm not gonna, when we do these shows here, I think you guys understand this. We don't go from each move. We just give them thoughts and some quick thoughts about this, and we highlight your comments.
We don't go into the analytics of the match. We don't talk about everything that happens in detail. That's just not our thing.
No, that's not our
thing. We give our brief little descriptions of how we feel about what happened in moments that stick out. That's just our thing.
That's just our thing. Lexus get the round 3 and round 4, and Lexus King, he's distracted by Eddie. Every time he's DJing, he's like, turn that crap off. I don't want to hear it. I also wanted to throw this out here because Tony D always comes out with the white Vita, right? And you can tell by his build.
Yes, he always comes out with the white tank top. I don't like calling it that.
Oh, I made sure not to say the other one. I said Vita, but right, the white tank top. That's better. Yeah, because I don't even know why that became a thing. That was so silly.
I feel like in a lot of like cases with domestic violence, there was a good number of them that wore that, like, or maybe like how they would depict it in movies and TV shows. Because a lot of times in scenes like that, they usually are wearing that, which is very upsetting to me.
Yeah.
So I never want to call it that. And if I do say it, it's just a slip because it's just easier to say.
Fair enough, Wrestling Doll. Fair enough. But I wanted to mention because he usually wears the white tank top. But in this match, it got ripped off, and you saw how jacked he was. I don't want to say he's like super jacked or whatever, but I was like, yo, this guy should like not be wrestling with his shirt. This guy's pretty in some pretty good shape. In round 4, he's tossing around Lexis King, and then he gets the finish when he hits him with that. I like to call it a Ron Simmons spine buster because he just slammed dude through the ground, got the win. Eddie, he plays Tony's music.
EDM.
Yeah. He does like a remix to the theme, and I mean, I thought it was fine.
And gets Lexis King upset because they had been feuding for a bit too.
Yes.
Which is why him being there annoyed Lexis King quite a lot. Which I'm just thinking, sweetie, you're trying to win a Heritage Cup because you're no good at trying to get the NXT Championship, the NXT North American Championship. Nobody likes you down there enough to tag with you for a little bit to hold the tag team belts. What else have you got to lose? Other than that guy, what else have you got to lose? Not a damn thing.
Well said. We got George. He said Eddie was distracting Lexis King. Eddie Thorpe was DJing the entire match. Was he DJing the entire? I don't think it was. I feel like
not the entire match because that would have been very distracting. He was doing it more so in between.
We got Warman. He says, Jack, I've been with the Jack Pack community, but Jack will turn heel and we will lose the championships. Why would I turn heel on you? I don't do that.
Why would he betray you? Why would he betray the mayor of the Jack Pack community?
Yes, like I once you're part of the Jack Pack community, like you're part of the group. Don't worry, when we get some merch, the executive consultant, he's very I always tell him, like, listen, there's people who want Jack Pack community merch. All I need is that we want Jack. All I need is one person to do it so I can send it to him and say, look, the people has spoken. George, he says, I know that Shay and Kat are mad that Lexis King lost. Yeah. But I mean,
at this point, Lexis King has turned from the prodigal son of Brian Pillman, reinvented himself to Lexis King, to now being Lexis King, mid-card jobber.
Yeah, it's been a while since he got a win. I remember when he came in, he had a little bit of steam here. Now, you mentioned all these championship matches he lost. Right, the NXT Championship. He lost the North American Heritage Cup. The last thing that we got going here is tag team. And you said
nobody likes him enough for that to tolerate holding a belt with him.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I think there's other teams I would pick before he ever won tag team gold. Anyway, but like,
how he would win tag team gold is if he were to turn face, shave off that ridiculous beard, and they bring in Griff Garrison, and then they do something else.
I would hope not. I mean, and
that's the closest and only way that man could possibly become an NXT tag team champion down there, because this King gimmick that he has going on is not working for him.
Yeah, I don't. The high school varsity thing that they did wasn't.
No, they don't have to be the varsity blondes. They could just do something else with it.
I don't know.
I didn't like the varsity blondes once upon a time when I first started watching AEW Dark, but after a while watching them on Dynamite and the thing they were doing House of Black, I did feel like they were getting stale.
Yeah, I don't know. The Lexis King character, I would sit here and say this is probably the most I've seen him with like some sense of personality. When he was with, what was his name, Garrett? Griff Garrison. It was nothing there. I don't think there was nothing there. I'd rather him just be by himself and they just find a direction for him than put him in a tag team again if they were going to do that. I would have if they would put him with somebody on a team. And I'm trying to think of someone who's just as arrogant as him and could have some fun segments, but I can't think of any on top of my head.
The only person that could do that is up on the SmackDown roster, and he's basically going to break away from his current partner real soon in Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller. You know what? That would be a hell of a pairing. Because
yes, it would. And for anybody wondering, I am snacking on these.
There you go. There we go. That's what was that? It says Rico's?
They're like meringue. They're like meringues. Like, like meringue pie, how they have that topping. That's what this is kind of like. I grew up eating these. It's so good.
Fantastic. And I just realized your chain. It says boss. Okay, boss. Got you, madam. Let's talk about this next segment. Well, 2 segments here. Let's talk about this Jensen attacking Javon. See, so earlier in the show, I said we spoke about Jensen. He's getting a second chance, another opportunity here in NXT.
And he's screwing it up already.
Day 1, he's already a freaking headache. Bro sat here, attacked Javon. See, I forgot to add this part here when we were talking about Jensen's part earlier. But he said, yeah, I'm going to make an impact. So at first I said, oh, maybe that's a TNA reference. Yuck, yuck, yuck. No, it's not. He attacked Javon for no reason, beat this young black man up. I didn't like any of this. I sat here and said, what are you doing? People I would hate this. You know why I would hate this so much? I went to the back. I said, yo, this is my boy. Give him another chance. Free Jensen. Free Jensen. This is why I don't believe in any of that free people stuff, because next thing you know, they do something stupid like this. And Jensen did this, attacked this young man. Not a fan of any of this. I'm a fan of seeing where this go, but I'm not a fan of Jensen attacking Javon. He beat up this young man.
The reason that he gave a loan was very idiotic and invalid. When Briggs came up to him confronting him saying, yo, what is this? Why are you doing this? I literally vouched for you to get a second chance. And he's like, oh, I'm trying to make an impact. What impact are you making by beating up 1/2 of the tag team for the main event later tonight? What impact are you supposed to make? The impact that you're making is that you can't be trusted with anybody in the back because they're worried that all you're going to do is beat them up for no reason.
And I want to put this all together. Jensen, he's in Ava's office. He's getting yelled at by Ava. And Brooks. No, he's Brooke Jensen. What's this other guy?
Briggs.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of names here. Briggs is yelling at him.
He puts himself on there as well, saying like it's on me. I'm the one that allowed for him to still be here and to not get let go. It's on me. Yeah. I'm taking responsibility for it, which a man will do. A real man will do. Take some notes, Jensen. This is why you need Brooks again.
Yeah, it looked like they're he tells him something over the lines of because I guess Jensen's gonna have a match next week. Brooks said, I'll be out there with you. He said, no, I'm doing it alone. And Brooks said, yeah, all right, I'm gonna do that. Let's talk about Ridge Holland.
You're gonna go alone against somebody that you beat up to the point where they needed to call medical because you wanted to quote unquote make an impact. You could have made an impact with him by fighting him in the ring like a normal person, not beating him up like if he were to owe you some money, Tony D and the Family style.
We're going to talk about Tony D and the Family because George already putting out about Kemp, but we'll talk about that when we get to that segment there. Let's talk about Ridge. He wasn't with them at Heatwave. He was told to stay back, and he did like a good trooper. You have Chase University, who I just can't stand these people. You know my feelings on them, one wrestling dog, but they're defeated. They had their excellent match on Sunday. And Riggs point out, he's like, yeah, that was a good match. And they just like, yeah, but we didn't win. And Riggs said, no, I got some gifts for you guys. Said, Thea Hell, I got you a match with Izzy Dame, and we're going to get you some wins so you can go for that NXT Women's Championship because he believed that Thea is ready for Roxanne. And then he also told Duke, I got a match for you. He's like, oh, for the championship? And he's stoked until he said, no, it's for the North American Championship against Oba Femi. And you can see Duke's face where he's like, he wasn't happy about this.
Do you want me to die? Do you want me to get thrown around like Wes Lee did? I know I'm 6'5", but he can still throw me around too. Like, that's what I'm pretty sure he was thinking.
I said this on Sunday. Femi is the strongest black man I've ever seen. What a mean number 2 is. Oh man,
Morgan Freeman.
You beat me to it. Good job. I'm mad I blinked on his name. What was going on here? I love Morgan Freeman. How can you not? Let's talk about this tag match. We had Gallus against Tyson and Tariq. I feel like I've seen them once or twice before. I'm not super familiar with them, but I gotta say,
they were new signees and they kept getting attacked by Gallus left and right.
Right.
Because they have nothing better to do, because they're stuck in catering, because they're boring, they're not entertaining, and everybody remembers. Actually, nobody remembers their run at tag champs because it was that boring. And they only get wins because they're quote unquote dominant and their work experience with one Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which is why they still haven't been let go despite how boring they are.
I don't mind Gallus.
Yeah. But the other team, they attack them before the match even starts so that way they can get a little taste of revenge for what happened to both of them. Which, thank God, because they really did need that.
Yeah, no, I thought the match was pretty good. I don't mind Gallus. I like the in-ring work. Tyson and Tariq, I'm not. Once again, I was trying to get at to they. I've probably seen them a few times, but this was a match where I was like, oh, this team is kind of fun. Tyson, he's a big boy, so when I saw him hit them drop kicks and my man was getting some height on them kicks, I would love to see more of them. I didn't mind them losing. They lost to the veteran team of Gallus, and seeing how later in the show, because Gallus needed it more than Tyson and Tariq. And I don't even think that they're completely done yet. But I thought the match was fine. I thought it was a fun tag match. I did enjoy I enjoyed the match. I mean, not much to it. Gallus, they take advantage. They have the number advantage. They hit the tag team finish, which looked pretty gnarly. So yeah, the match was fine. I'm not gonna say 5 stars at the Tethia Dome, but this was a fun match. I enjoyed watching. Unless you have anything else to say, we'll get to the next two. All right.
Listen, George put this comment, and I'm just gonna say this. You know how people say it's more fun to watch paint dry? That's how I feel.
There we go. We got Trick. He's still hot about Javon being attacked. He thought this was just not good. He was thinking about going into this match by himself, but he said, I'm gonna have to look for a partner. And that's when we get the visual. I didn't see this until I was on social media. I missed it on my television. But in the background, we had a certain Mr. Henry in the background. So that
don't say his name. They were saying that all night too.
No, that was cool. No, it was really, really cool. Let's talk about this segment. I know you're gonna love this segment here because I love this segment as well. Matter of fact, I'm doing a lot of talking, Wrestling Doll. We're gonna get into the chats. Why don't you take the floor on this one?
Thank you. So we get this segment with Wes Lee. He comes in the ring. He looks defeated, which is very understandable because in Heatwave he wasn't able to get the belt from Femi and become our NXT North American champion once again, which, like I said in our quick little predictions after one of the live shows, I did call that. And he's all defeated, he's all depressed, and he's so close to saying that he's basically going to leave and never wrestle again, which is the only person in the chat that would have been very happy about that is one Mr. Executive Contradictor. But we get the theme music that Wes Lee basically uses now. The OG. We get some MSK music with Zachary Wentz, formerly known as Nash Carter, and Trey Miguel making an entrance, surprising the hell out of people to where we get some holy shit and TNA chants coming in. As they step in, Wes Lee's like, yo, what are you doing here? And they're like, what are we doing here? What are you doing here? And Zachary says, what are you doing, man? These people don't want to see you leave. We don't want to see you leave. You're the greatest North American champion ever, which we will attest that. We agree. And Wes Lee says that he has been watching their work on TNA and that he is proud of the men that they had became, to which they both look at each other and say in unison, "We know." And then basically we get a little thing where he says, where Zachary says, "I think it's time for an MSK reunion, for a Rascals reunion. What do you say?" And we get a big hug, and we get a reunion, and I'm so happy. I need me an MSK shirt ASAP. Somebody buy it for me in purple and black. I will wear that shade of green for those boys, and I don't like that shade of green on me.
No, the segment was great. I thought this was so cool. I don't even have the words. Like, since this whole little TNA NXT crossover, that was one of the things people were suggesting. Like, oh, have Wes
I have been mentioning it for quite a while that MSK, not MSK, the Rascals should come out and help Wes Lee at some point or another, and we get a reunion.
Yeah, and it's so cool to see this. I mean, I think a lot of that crowd really ate that up big time. So
the NXT universe has loved MSK for a very long time, seeing them as underdogs to trying to earn the NXT Tag Team Championship belts, to when they went up against Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, to when they were still signed, to win those belts off of those two, to then to face them once again, because those two felt like they were not being respectful for the title, so they're basically not taking it seriously. And when they proved them wrong, and they got a handshake out of respect from both of them to show that they mean business, and have won the Dusty Rhodes Classic for a title shot, essentially, or holding the cup, they are no joke. And I had seen them do their thing live and gotten a fist bump from Nash Carter. Well, Zachary went when he was still Nash Carter, one of the best moments, as well as my picture with Wes Lee, another one of my greatest moments. But they are formidable, so now we're going to see their work as 3 next week, because they're going to have a match with Gallus because of the little segment that happened a little later in the night, basically.
Well said. And George mentioned Rascals versus Gallus. The Rascals are absolutely.
The Rascals are going to win, because if I have to see Gallus win one more time, I swear I will march down to the Performance Center, find the creative team, and ask, why the hell y'all keep putting trying to put these people over when everybody's bored out of their minds?
We got George. He also reports that says that Jordan Grace's contract will expire in January of next year, which means WWE is looking to sign her. Triple H, bring Big Mama Pump. I want to say some thoughts for Pop, but I do believe that. I mean, I believe that she has made a great transition, even though she's still with Impact right now. I thought the 2 appearances that she had made for WWE this year, from the Royal Rumble and I forget the PLE that was from NXT, but the match that she had with Roxanne showed that, thank you. She showed that she belongs here. And I really I would really say more with the Royal Rumble appearance, like when she came out, and we were there for the Royal Rumble. So
I didn't expect it. So when I saw that Titantron pop up, because I wasn't sitting close enough to the audience, to the ring, to where I could see them walk in, so I had to rely on the Titantron to see who was coming out. And when she came out at number 5, I lost my mind. I was like, I wasn't screaming that loud because I didn't want to be too loud when I posted those clips up, but I couldn't believe that Jordan Grace was there. Just like I couldn't believe, well, I could partly believe that Newman was there, because, like I've said before, I was at her last TNA for TNA show before she essentially went back to WWE.
There we go. We got in the chat. Oh, good, Chris. He says Finn Balor is staying with WWE for 5 more years. Jordan and
he's getting better treatment now versus the Vincent McMahon era, as what Mr. Mike Knox would like to say, using Vince McMahon's full name. He's getting treated better now. Everybody knows Vince doesn't like the small guys that much, and he's made it clear before that he doesn't like Finn Balor. And I don't get why.
So the next match we have Thea Hale. She won against Izzy Dame. This match was fine. I thought the match it told the story of Thea getting a win here. Izzy, she's having
it told more the story of Izzy with Tatum Paxley because Tatum does come out at some point during the match and distracts Izzy.
Right. Do you want to take the floor on that one?
I mean, match was okay. Thea did her thing. Izzy Dame, she's fine. She does fine in ring work. She's just very boring to me, which is why they put her with Tatum Paxley to have a storyline to make her more entertaining, which is not working. But yeah, match was okay. Nothing to write home about. It's just the stuff with Tatum was the only entertaining thing about it, really.
George mentioned that he mentions that Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame's feud is kind of interesting. Yeah, I saw these last few.
Tatum's making it interesting. Tatum's the only reason why it's interesting.
Tatum Paxley and Wendy Chu, he says. Oh, no, good Chris. He says it's been 3 years since Bayley tore her ACL in 2021 and missed 13 months. And now, look at her now. She's the women's champion, and she is putting on some fantastic matches. She was out for
and
a bit.
And we'll be doing another one at SummerSlam.
There we go. This will be interesting. Her and Nia Jax. So the next match we have here is Out the Mud going against OC. These guys have been feuding for a while.
Yep.
I think it was Bronco.
Jaden and Mia.
I think it's Bronco who has the broken nose because he came out with a face mask.
Yeah.
And we had Lucius. Now, once again, we don't really go through each move here, but I thought Bronco suplex and Luke Gallows was so freaking impressive because Luke.
Listen, when you can suplex, whatever way, a man as tall and big and strong as Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, that's one for the history books.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like when I saw him do that, I popped big time. I said, "Oh." And I said, that's the word. I'll say it for you guys. I said, oh, shit, because I thought that was really, really impressive. The match was cool. I'll sit here and say OTM, because this is what I put here for my notes, OTM versus OC. And I begin to think that I was missing some letters here because I just felt like it was letters versus letters here. But OC gave OTM a lot of offense here. OTM looked pretty dominating here. And I know I abused that word a lot here on UPR, Big Pop, whatever. But I mean, there was a lot of spots here where OC was just taken to the freaking cleaners. Eventually, the OC tries to make a comeback. They used their veteran skills to make a comeback. And just as it looked like the OC was going to get the win, you have Michin come out. Jada and Michin are going at it. I thought this was hilarious here because, like, OC looked like they were doing good, but then the ref get distracted, and there's a lot of security here. I wish we had that amount of security here on Monday Night Raw because I was watching Raw yesterday, and we have Adam Pearce say, I've beefed up security. No, you put two men to sit next to Michael Cole, and every time I see him, they get dominated, and I just see them laid out all the time. That's security, what we saw today. I saw a bunch of people trying to prevent Michin and Jada to go at it. But Jada was for it. She was ready to be. Jada beat Michin. So Jada's not. And then the OTM, I'm sorry, because there's O's here, so I almost said the OC, but OTM gets the win, pins the OC. There's a big win here for them. They mentioned how the OC has traveled the world. And we
got some too sweet chants from the audience.
Yes. But sorry, my phone went off here. But yeah, I thought the match was cool. It was cool. I think it was really big for OTM to get this win here. You gotta get the young guys over. I think OC did.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I think the OC really did their job here. And yeah, good stuff here. Good stuff for OTM. I was once again really impressed. Both men, but like I said, the Bronco suplex, because it wasn't just a suplex. He had a stalling suplex. So I thought that was just pretty damn impressive. You want to take the floor on here before we get to the next match and segment?
No, you pretty much said everything that needed to be said about this match.
I do talk a lot. Oh, okay.
It's funny. Good.
Oh, stop it, you. You're already one of my favorite people. Stop it, Sabrina Stella. But then we have Ruca, Fallon Henley, this Sunday, Fallon Henley talked about how Ruca is a loser. She had an opportunity for the Women's North American Championship and blew it. So Fallon Henley, this new attitude of Fallon Henley. I gotta say, I was not a fan of her turning heel 2 months ago, but she really gotten into the role, and she's out here. She's all about herself. The fashion has just increased. You see this big cow mink that she's wearing. So I don't know how many cows that was killed to make this mink here.
Probably not enough.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, that thing was. I image it. I feel like next week it should just get bigger. Like you just don't even see her anymore. You just see a floating cow mint. Just well, she's a hat and a mint. Just. I don't care if no one else found that funny. I think that's hilarious. I might Photoshop that myself. You just see a small overhead in this. Oh, I amuse myself so much. This is why I want Funny as Host, because I make myself laugh. But so Ruca, she wants to get some momentum back after the loss. And I do want to sit here and say I saw the stuff with Dave Meltzer, and I'm not going to sit here and rag on him and any of that stuff. That's not what
you mean. What he said about basically just calling this like them trying to outdo each other in their gymnastics.
I thought that match was so good.
But it's funny because I saw that on Twitter and someone made a comment, put a comment up saying like, "Oh, he's just mad because his favorites from AEW don't act like that, don't get enough attention like that from other people."
Yeah, I was listening to this and I did watch the like how you mentioned, he talked about all they did was flip and all this stuff. But then you look at the video where he's talking about the Ricochet and Ospreay match. And I was just listening to him. I was just like, dude, what? Like, I said, whatever, man. I enjoyed the match. I thought the match was great, especially when you have these two young girls. And I said this on Sunday. To the best of my ability, because I was a little I came on the show.
You said, and I quote, that this was the better women's match of the night.
It was that, and also these two young ladies here. These two I feel like are gonna go far in the next 5 years, like in another 5 years or something.
Oh, they will for sure.
Yeah, so I think that you have the talent here. But Ruca, she's out here, she's going against Fallon Henley. Fallon Henley looks good out here. I mean, I feel like I haven't paid enough attention to her in-ring stuff. But she was out there. She was looking pretty damn good here. But Ruca, she makes a babyface comeback. She shows her athletic ability. The Soul Snatcher is just chef's kiss because it comes out of anywhere. Oh, watch out for the corner. No, just watch out for anything she can flip off of. So she hits the Soul Snatcher. It's
basically the RKO of women's wrestling right now. Oh, I don't know where. Soul Snatcher.
Yeah, let's not. I hope we don't run that meme into the ground though. Like, you know how like sometimes like it'll be a fun meme. Like, Vic Joseph. I feel like I haven't spoke bad about Vic Joseph in a while. So let me do my Vic Joseph hate here. When my man Javon comes out and he'll flip or he'll do something. Booger, he's getting bouncy. Booger, did you see him? He's getting bouncy. Hey, crowd, you see him? He got bouncy. He keeps doing that. Look. He got bouncy. Look, he bounced, Brooke. You get it? Bouncy. That's what he did. Bouncy. I think he's at the table with Mackenzie. He went bouncy. Shut up, Vic.
He's doing his job.
Get it on my nerve. Bouncy.
And speaking of ring commentators that get on my nerves, Wade Barrett did the impossible. He made me like Corey Graves. Because Wade Barrett will say some stupid ass shit. Nothing for this word, y'all. And Corey will say something to where I agree with him, and I'm like, what is happening here? I'm not supposed to like you. You say stuff that got on my nerves so much. I started disliking you the second you started kissing Charlotte Flair's ass so much for when she won the belt again. From Nikki ASH and was fighting Rhea Ripley to make sure that she kept that belt. I'm not supposed to like you, but now I do.
You wow. What a change.
I know, right?
I know.
Just like the executive consultant with his mind about Liv Morgan. Now all of a sudden he's the president of her fan club.
Yeah, and at least when I talk about JC, right?
I'm just going to say this. When Roman Reigns comes back, and when he does come back, and that pop is going to be huge, and people start rooting for him.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
When he goes against the new bloodline, I'm not going to turn around and be like, oh my God, I love Roman. Oh my God, he's so amazing. Oh my God, he's one of my favorites. I loved him the entire time. No. because y'all are gonna come at me and be like, no, you disliked him the entire time. You disliked him because he was
Listen,
always
no,
being pushed so damn much that
no,
he always won with interference.
no, listen.
I'm not gonna twist and lie and try to manipulate nobody. I will be honest.
Listen,
I'll be like, yes, I would like for him to come back.
I think
yes, I want Jimmy and Day to come back so that they can all beat the new Bloodline's ass.
I sit here and say, you're giving too much here. Look, I'm a believer in that you can not like someone and then time changes. Like, oh, this person was a lot doper than I thought. I don't give nothing to these bums here who sit here and want to sit here and tell you like, oh, didn't you say? Yeah, I did. And you know what? I changed my mind because I'm entitled to it. I could change my mind. I could change my underwear. I could change my diet. My point is I am entitled to change. And if you don't like that, sniff sewer water. But I want to get to this last part here. We talked about Ruca. She hits the Soul Snatcher, and out comes the fantastic JC Jane and friend. They beat the hell out of her, and I loved all of this. You know, I loved all of this. I cheered very loud. Know you did. Thank you for that.
I do like JC, but I'm a very big Ruca fan, so I didn't fully love it.
I am very hurt by this betrayal. But you know, just like I learned today, my mother betrayed me. You know, today she texted me. She said Steve Austin. And I said, do you know him too? And she said, yes, but I couldn't tell you. And you know why this breaks my heart? Because I told her my favorite color. I don't just tell people what my favorite color is. I bet you guys in the chat don't know what my favorite color is. And I told this to my mother. Very heartbreaking stuff here.
More heartbreaking than when she told you that she liked He Who Shall Not Be Named from the Ball Syndicate?
Goldberg. I cannot stand it. You know,
why do you think I didn't say his name?
I couldn't even believe the words. I feel like my mother's favorite wrestlers are bald and white because she talked about Austin. She said, I like that Austin. Okay, cool. And then she says she liked Goldberg, which I just don't understand. That's right, Steve in the chat. He says sniff sewer water. That is going to be a shirt. If the executive consultant was not so lazy, I could have some merch going. But you know,
we all could.
Yes, but he's trying to hold me back because I'm too over Jack. That's why I want to get that over too. But yeah, so Ruca got her ass kicked by this new faction. It looks like Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix. And look, honestly, I love all of this. This is great. If this is an opportunity to see more of JC Jane and put some kind of gold around her way. Honestly, if I could be honest here, that tag match, I watched back a little bit, like some segments here, but JC and Jasmine Nix actually is a pretty good team. They were doing some moves together that I was like, you know what? Put the women's tag team titles on them. And I know people are going to sit here and say, well, Jack, you're just biased. And I said, you should see my WWE universe.
We're wrestling fans. We all have our bias of who we like and don't like. Mm-hmm. And some of us go on the internet and talk about it for other people to see and for us to discuss and have our agreements and disagreements with other people. And then some of us are just very honest. And Rhea Ripley can come back and interrupt whenever she wants. And first of all, do not ever call Dominic that because he is not that and he never will be. And I can't wait to see what Liv Morgan says next week. And if she comes out and admits that, I wish he's using Dominic to make Rhea mad because I can. Wonder what EC will say then. And Mike and Willie. And every other father in the UPR group chat except for one Mr. Z is silent.
You know, I was told recently I kind of count as a dad because I'm a father to cats. So I'm a cat father.
You're a cat daddy.
I'm a cat daddy. That's right. That's right. I'm training these cats for the Nick Cannon wars, but they're not listening to me. Fools. Let's talk about this segment here. Someone else got killed in NXT.
It was the write-off for Damon Kempsons, who's now a free agent. The No Quarter Catch crew pulled a Tony D Angelo family thing and just had them shoot off in a car. and funny enough, Ren Sinclair was in the back, and she's saying, "I didn't see nothing."
You have to be like that, though. The NXT parking lot is dangerous in itself, and you just saw something that happened. I would turn the other cheek. I told you I went to NXT last year in October. And I walked the mean streets of the NXT parking lot, and I had to hide behind Chris' big ass to make sure nothing happened. I wanted to make sure, because if something happened, at least he could take the blunt of it. And I can run. I know he can't. So you have to do these things to make sure for your safety. You got to look out for numero el dos. That don't sound right.
Numero uno.
That is correct. Good job. You know, the next thing I was going to say is thrice. No, actually, I was going to say numero el rojo because I know that means red. See, I know a little bit of Spanish here. But yeah, they wrote him off. Honestly, I thought, what is the new member's name? Because he had the same hair as Dempsey. I mean, no, not Dempsey, Damien. Because at first I said, is that him? Is this pre-recorded? And then I realized, like, no, that's the new member. That's the new one who I guess he beat Damien. Damien just these last few weeks just haven't been having good weeks. He lost to
maybe that's Tavon Heights.
Tavon Heights. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I know he had some showings. I just didn't remember his name. But Heights.
And speaking of showings, we also get a return and a new member of the NXT main roster, and Ashanti the Adonis and Cedric Alexander, because they weren't being used in the main roster for shit.
Honestly, I when Ashanti came out, I was like, oh, that's cool. But at first, when I saw Cedric, I said, yo, that means we're gonna get more TV time, because I saw him just coming up there by himself and doing like a solo run, but it looked like they're gonna have him and Ashanti together. And I was
they've had them together for a hot minute,
right? So when they teamed up together on the main roster, I was for it because I like Cedric's work. I feel like he's very underutilized.
And no offense to Ashanti, because I have seen him both in the Performance Center and at a wrestling show at this very extravagant, huge place that I went to around 4th of July a couple years back. But he was the least memorable for me when Hit Row was the thing down there. So I think hopefully him doing some stuff with Cedric will make him a little bit more memorable.
You know, he always Ashanti, he's always came off he's caught my eye. I always thought there was something special about him. You know, it's something, and I can't describe it in words, but he caught my eye when I was looking at Hit Row. I was like, you know, there's something about this guy. I'd like to see more. I look like they're going to be a team.
They are.
I would have personally preferred Cedric to be on his own. I just think that, and I feel like he's a better fit for NXT than the main roster. There's no spot for him on the main roster. They don't look like they know what to do with him. I feel like on NXT, and it gives me the vibes of like when they had Mustafa Ali on NXT. I thought he was a perfect fit. And I think Cedric.
Well, as long as they don't randomly let them go out of nowhere with no explanations, it should be fine.
And I hope things work out for Cedric. You know, a lot of times
Me too, because he is very talented.
Yep. I spoke about a lot about when the Hurt Business was, and I thought that was a great pairing. Him, Shelton, Bobby Lashley, and MVP.
Bobby Lashley and MVP.
Yeah. And they broke them up for no reason. And ever since then, Cedric been directionless.
Oh, that's another top 5 we can do. Top 5 factions / teams that were broken up for no reason, and it didn't work in their favors.
That could be a fun one. There we go. Let's get into this main event here, but real quick, guys, you are watching Unpopular View, the NXT review show. I'm one of your hosts, the great Grand Slam Pooh, Sabrina Stella, aka the Wrestling Doll. We hope that you are enjoying this review here on a Tuesday at 11:17 at night. You know, Unpopular View, there's so much content here. We talk about NXT, we talk about Monday Night Raw, we talk about SmackDown, we talk about AEW Dynamite. Like my lovely co-host said here, top 5s. We have some top 5s going, and there's also entertainment. They're reviewing movies. I'm not sure which movie they are reviewing.
They reviewed Twins tonight. I know that from the notification.
Okay, good job. You got Twins. The trio. We're doing The Adventures of Superman and The Boys. If you're interested in those kind of reviews, those are fun. The last episode of The Boys was a wild one. I don't know if you watched The Boys. I don't want to spoil nothing for you, but I'm going to spoil something for you. It's a wild show. There was a guy, he sat on cake, and the guy liked that he sits on cake and fart on it. It was a wild episode. And I said, I don't know what kind of kink I'm watching here. I'm very disturbed, but I'll be watching the next episode of The Boys because now I'm kind of hooked to it. Let's get to this main event. We have Ethan Page and Sean Spears. They're already in the ring. Trick Williams come out here. Trick Williams is playing no games here. He's not doing a whoop that trick. He's in the zone, man.
He's in that serious mode.
Yeah. And we wait for who the person who's going to be his partner. And Joe Henry shows up.
And I believe in Joe Henry.
Oh man, that crowd really ate that up. It's honestly really cool.
Joe Hendry is very entertaining, and his songs are funny. My favorite one will always be the one he did to Matt Cardona, calling him Edges. Beep.
You know, I saw some stuff. I ran into like you know how on the Instagram they could just show you videos according to your algorithm and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was one where he did mockery of the Pokemon theme to Ken Anderson. And I thought that was so cool because I didn't realize he does music. He's something with music.
Yes, he does.
But I thought that was so cool. And like how you mentioned that, and I know he did one with Top Dollar, I believe. He did something.
Yes. It was funny. It makes me tempted that every time whenever I would see him at a show, I feel tempted to sing a little bit from that song, but nah. I mean, like, I could, and then he'd be all upset with me, but then, like, I would tell him, like, I record matches and I send them to everybody the night of. Don't make me mad.
So this match, you know, Joe Hendry.
Love you, AJ.
This match, you know, I didn't even write notes for this. I'm not even going to hold you here. I just was prepping for the show at that point, but the babyfaces get the win here. Ethan and Sean, they do heel tactic stuff. Ethan Page, even though in this he's in this match, he's trying to hold his own, the NXT champion, right? And you have Aura come out and he attacks.
Who comes in, goes and attacks him, and they start fighting and they leave, leaving Sean Spears by his damn self, and that he takes that finisher from Joe Hendry and gets his ass pinned for the 1-2-3 victory for Trick and Hendry.
That was pretty much a chokeslam. I was gonna say that's pretty much a chokeslam, right?
Basically.
Yeah, because I was looking, I was like, is that a spine buster or? But you know, it was cool. It was cool to see Joe Hendry out there. It was cool to see the Rascals out there.
It was cool to see Joe Hendry in a wrestling ring for longer than 5 seconds.
Oh, that part the most. That part the most. Like when the bell rang, I said he's already been in here longer than his first one, and I felt like when he got eliminated, it was coming off like he was going to bring some TNA guys. Yeah, he was going to come back, but I felt like he was going to bring like some TNA guys to help invade, because you remember he said Joe Hendry against NXT, you got it, or something like that, and he helped Trick, and it was even funny because it was things that he did, like he shook Trick's hand and almost said, "I believe in you," and Trick is almost like, "What?"
Right.
But it was fine. It was fun. I think the cool. This thing is so cool with this NXT TNA crossover because it really makes me
go, NXT TNA.
Yes, it makes me go, man, I do want to check out some TNA. It's just kind of hard to catch up all this wrestling because it's so much wrestling and you try to keep up and also try to have this outside life at the same time. But it does make me go like, man, I should check some of this stuff out because I feel like this is not the only few people that's going to come up here. I mean, let's look at it right now. We have Joe Hendry who showed up, Frankie Kazarian, oh my God, I'm blinking. Jordan Grace and the Rascals. I count as 5, right? So it makes me wonder who's next to come through the door that you're not allowed to come through, because I refuse to say forbidden door. It sounds ridiculous.
Well, I mean that, and already another company uses that as a pay-per-view name.
George wanted to go back to the segment with Tatum, who was talking about Izzy and Wendy picking up. I didn't see Wendy pick up the doll now. That I didn't see. So
basically, Tatum has a doll in her hand, and she basically sees it like Izzy Daniels talking about why she's so obsessed with her. She's like, you're not all that special, basically, but I'm the reason why you're entertaining, why people actually pay attention. And then she gets all crazy, rips the head off of the doll, drops it, leaves, and then Wendy Chu comes in and picks up the head of the doll. And whenever those two come together to be a team, everybody runs because they're gonna scare the ever-living crapper zone.
That shit gonna be crazy, girl. Yeah, that's good. I'm running out of pennies. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting when they I almost said reunite, but when they become a team, because you talk about the unholy alliance, talk about the. But
we have an unholy union, and then we have just the psychotic nightmare.
That is a nightmare. I think that's something that you put in there, nightmare. George, he says Moose. I can see Moose. I think
somebody did make up a graphic of him versus Obafemi.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't
And
see
Moose
that.
is one big, strong black man. I will say that.
No, yeah, Moose is like the 5th strongest black man because I put myself at like number 3 at least. But I saw something online and they said I forget which one between them, but I think Moose threw up the challenge and Ober was like whatever. So
Yeah,
that would be something. I've seen some of Moose's work. Can't sit here and say like I'm a super fan of his work, but from the stuff I've ever seen, it's been solid. So yeah, I would be down for that. I would think if Moose was facing anyone, it would be champion versus champion, but I couldn't see Moose going against Ethan. I think if they wanted to do something, Moose against
Oba.
Yeah, because they're both kind of similar and
it would be nice to see Oba go up against somebody similar in stature, in height, and all that. I mean, he did have that with Dijak, but we need more.
And we didn't get to talk about this a lot here, but after the match, Oba, after Thea's match, Oba comes out and he laughs at laughs at Duke taking this challenge, and Duke gets shot
because he's saying that you're basically going to die next week.
Yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, your Ridge really begged for you to have this match, knowing that I'm going to kill you." But Duke gave a real firing speech. He talked about being the MVP of Chase University. He had a lot of fire. I'm sorry, I didn't write down every little thing that he said here, but I mean, I got hyped for this match, and honestly, I see this match. This is going to be a really good match. Duke Hudson, Oba Femi. You mentioned the match that he had with Dijak and Josh Briggs, and I sit here and say I was at Stand and Deliver. It bothered me that we missed that match. That was the match we missed live, and when I watched it back, I said I could see how this was easily the match of the night or day because it was in the afternoon. But guys, that is the NXT review show. We hope that you guys enjoy. We're going to do some plugs here. Let's plug. We got Moose versus Oba Femi will be a great match. Good Chris says that. We see you in the chat. Good Chris. Image, Ridge, Costin, Oba Femi, and Duke winning. I don't. I think Ridge is such bad luck that he's gonna grab.
He's trying to behave like a good little boy. Like he's trying to be like the opposite of the book for Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. He's trying to be the opposite of that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the thing. Okay, so real quick, we got a show. There's a show for everybody. That's the name of this thing. You have on Mondays at 6 p.m. kicking off the week. You have Mike Knox, 6 p.m. He talks about all thing wrestling, and it's for the intelligent wrestling fan, in case you did not know. Monday Night Raw review, not on Mondays anymore. It will be on Tuesday, 7 p.m., kicking off the Tuesday night block. And then you can catch us right back here after NXT go off the air. We talk about NXT, and we're your favorite duo. Let's be real. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. AEW on Wednesday, you have Cactus Katie, you have Dirty Dan the Man, and Venomous Venny. The thing is not long enough. On Saturdays at 1 p.m. It's in the afternoon on a Saturday. What are you doing on a Saturday? Not much. So why don't you join us on Saturday? Join Zeta Silent, Vic the Man, or I think it's just Vic. Vic on Fridays, Saturday in the afternoon. We have top fives. We do pay-per-view prediction and review shows. We have it here on Unpopular Review, but we also have our own little solo things. The Wrestling Doll, aka Sabrina Estella. You be doing some things. You be doing a lot of things in Florida. You be recording, and you're doing some cool stuff here. Why don't you tell the people listening, what is this cool stuff that you do?
Well, I have my YouTube channel, The Unofficial Camera Woman, where I record matches throughout Central Florida and occasionally South, and put them up online for the world to see, where you can catch some of your favorite former and or current WWE stars, depending where I'm at, and former/current AEW and or TNA stars as well, occasionally on my channel.
Please check out that. Subscribe to this channel, please. It's fantastic. We have on my end, I have the Charmaine. Charmaine has caught us at the tail end of the show. I have a wrestling podcast. It's called the Big Pop Theory Podcast. Usually we advertise it on Mondays, but it was a lazy Monday, so we didn't have a chance to really do some advertisement. But episode 71 is up. We gave our thoughts about Money in the Bank. We talked about Dynamite. We talked about John Cena's retirement. And we're going to have another episode. We recorded on a Sunday. Comes on all streaming places where you can listen to your podcast. Apple, Google. I don't think Google's anything. Spotify, Podbean. Look up Big Pop Theory. It's there. It's a fun time. Yes, yes, yes. And we got George. He wanted to say Joe Teresi, I want to say, is going to be joining Corey Graves and Wade Barrett on SmackDown. That means he signed with WWE. Yeah, I saw that. I'm not familiar with his work, but
as far as I know, he works on like some
ESPN
sports thing or something. I don't know too much about that either.
Yes. No. Yeah. Absolutely nailed it on the head. He did. I saw ESPN stuff, and if he knows the product and stuff like that, then good stuff.
He can be another Pat McAfee. In the sense of coming from sports to WWE and commentating, so maybe he can do a decent job.
Yeah, and I'll say with Pat McAfee, I've seen a lot of people kind of turned off about on his announcing skills, or just I guess he might be.
Pat McAfee is basically us. He's a wrestling fan getting to watch it close up and getting to interact with these people. Some of us would react the way that he does.
Mm-hmm. No, nailed it on their head. Let's get this last comment in because we're getting ready to call it the show here. What we got here? He's going to be in the middle of Wade and Corey. Good luck.
If he can hold his own and not be a Byron Saxton, I think he'll be fine.
And the Dynamite went boom. That is the show. We're going to look for this outro. Almost an outrage. You know what it is? Because wrestling fans always like outrage. Anyway, guys, this is the NXT Unpopular Review show. We'll see you back here next Tuesday for more NXT talk. And continue to follow us on all these social media platforms. And there we go. We got to do that. I can't do it both at the same time. I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to do it like that. Boom. We're going to do it like that. Guys, thank you for staying with us. And we say have a great night. And we'll see you next week. And that's all, folks.